Today, be like this light over here, and don't pay attention to what a controller tells you to do.
A little light.
Yeah. Welcome to ChillPoint. And yeah, we fixed the little light there.
For now.
Mm-hmm.
Like even the lights are tired. Are you okay over there, dude?
Oh, okay. When he mentioned controller, I was like, oh shit, I got an email I got to follow up on real fast. And then I'm like, right, I got a thing I got to respond to.
How is that your code word?
Nope,
it's fine. The audience doesn't need to know.
It's in reference to something that the audience is not supposed to know about. It's not a merch thing. It's not secret whatevers, but it's like it has nothing to do with your lives.
They just don't get to know.
All right.
Yeah.
Secrets from chat.
Hey everybody, welcome to ChillPoint, the show where we have no secrets from you. Except for the ones that were previously defined.
We are very transparent when we have a secret from you that we're not going to tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's pretty fine.
Yay.
So there's going to be a lot less talking this week. Maybe.
I got to check off some things in Asana though. That's fun.
Checklists are fun.
Do
you make your checklists after you've done stuff just so you can check things off?
I have done that in the past, but these days I try to not do it that way.
But it's fun, right?
It is fun, yeah. Even just writing a thing down and then immediately striking it out. I've done that in blueprints.
Yeah. I brought that up to Ian once, and he was just like, I wouldn't do that, and like, you're no fun.
Yeah.
My crime partners sometimes, they just don't understand joy.
It's sad.
It's sad.
This is a show where we talk about video game news, and specifically the episode Checkpoint that went up yesterday.
Well, now I feel bad for derailing everything.
And
I don't.
Sometimes we also talk about other stuff.
Let's do that.
For instance, Beej wanted to talk about Fisherman's
Pineapples.
Friends.
Yeah.
It makes sense. There's pineapples on the bag. There was pineapples in the show.
It is a pineapple, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
This is,
Did you not notice that?
I didn't. I think I did at one point and completely forgot.
Okay. Beej can't see pineapples.
So
New thing we've learned about Beej.
it's because of I have no depth perception, so I can't see pineapples.
You can't see the pokey bits.
Yeah. So anyway, how am I going to do this? Thank you to Jumping Point.
Okay,
yes, that is who did this.
That's a good start.
Who lives in the EU, and I went on the food, because I don't know where else you're supposed to go for this. I went on the food channel on Discord, discord.gg/LRR, and I said, hey, all you people who live in the Nordics, I need your help. You guys have some crazy flavors of Fisherman's Friends that we are never going to get in Canada. Please help me acquire some of these. And then the Germans responded.
So if you hadn't, I feel like you may have had some other venues to talk about this.
Yep.
But
we had a whole anime roundup.
I should have done it there and completely forgot.
But if you haven't heard about this, Beej has been going deep into Fisherman's Friends, which apparently in like the Nordic countries are like how they do Kit Kats in Japan.
Yep.
There's just like a hajillion
region
flavors.
varieties.
There's so many different flavors. That mail time was recorded, of course, back in March 21st of last year, so there was no way I was going to actually be able to put any of this in there.
Well, I mean, this didn't come in time for any of our film channel times, did it?
So, so what happened is a bunch of people in that thread were all like, "Hey, I'll do my best. I'll see what I can find for you. You can probably even go find the thread. It's months old at this point. I'll do my best to see if I can find anything for you." I'm like, cool, yeah, let me know, and we'll work this all out. And I went on to Amazon while we were having this conversation. I said, oh my God, guys, you can get an advent calendar full of Fisherman's Friends.
Yeah, that's a weird idea. I think that's a weird, terrible gift for a friend.
And apparently in
Good
Germany,
for an office friend though.
Germany, like I think Central Europe, but I think Germany in particular has a very evolved candy culture. That the Germans are very precise people, like it's like we take everything very seriously, and they take this shit seriously. And so you can get advent calendars of so many different types of candy. And then also you can get it of Fisherman's Friends as well. And I was like, well, that's really cool. And I looked and I was like, well, that's neat, but it's mostly the same flavors all the way through. It's like a bag of like, but it's only like about 7 different flavors. And I was like, that's a letdown. But what they did have also on Amazon, which was a better deal, was the Fisherman's Friend Friendship Collection.
Again, not a thing you give friends.
And I was just like, that's wild.
Are you the friend of a fisherman?
There's 12 stark assorten in according to what it says, and you don't have to be a friend of a fisherman to enjoy it. It's a really good looking box.
Do they? Yeah, right. Do they check your fishing credentials before you can order it?
It says hashtag taste your strength.
Yep. That also is not just a logo. It is it's a great
it comes with
little,
a tin.
very thin,
Which
beautifully
I'll
done,
give that.
all like debossed on the front tin, which I'm like, well, that's perfect because then you can put these in it most likely. It won't fit in on its own, I don't think, which is you have to empty it into the tin.
probably.
But I do love that it's a very
That is like a swank tin. I like that.
it's a very thin tin. It's nicely made. I'll probably start using it at some point. There was a time in Canada where they did limited edition apple cinnamon. I remember this too. They did apple cinnamon Fisherman's Friends that came in a tin. It was a thicker tin because they needed to be able to shove the whole thing into the tin. And that was like if you want apple cinnamon ones, you can get them with the cool tin. And I'm like, okay, cool. I don't think it ever went anywhere. So what's in this box is eucalyptus flavor, cherry, raspberry, just so you can see the difference in color here, tropical, anything that has the stripes on it is sugar-free, mint sugar-free, anise.
A what?
Anise.
A what?
Aniseed.
A what?
Star anise.
His niece.
Licorice.
Okay.
Yeah. But also salmiak,
Ugh.
which is also licorice.
Worse licorice.
Lemon. Spearmint. Sugar-free eucalyptus, which is basically the white package, but it doesn't have sugar in it. We have this in Canada. We call it extra strength. And beer and mix.
A what?
Mixed berry.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now, of course, the important thing to remember here is that these are Fisherman's Friends.
Yes, they
So-
taste disgusting.
So all of these flavors are that flavor plus menthol.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the actual Fisherman's Friend medicinal part.
Yeah.
Exactly. You get the menthol with it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Which
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Some of
11.
those feel like they might not make a great
I
combination.
literally won't kiss Beach if he's got one in
Oh
his
yeah.
mouth.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's
So you would not be a Fisherman's Friend then?
no, she is not.
I hate them.
But that's not all because Germany also has other flavors, and this year they're also getting a limited edition flavor, and so more showed up. Thank you again. Again, more cherry, more spearmint, more raspberry, more eucalyptus, more mint. But these cool little guys,
Weird
which are
watermelon
green and
ones.
red, are strawberry and lime, and they are quite delicious.
I don't believe you.
They are pretty damn
They
good.
still put menthol in it.
Oh yeah, they still
They
put menthol
ruin
in
it.
They're extra fresh. They say right on them, extra frisch menthol pastillen.
It's like when people are like, hey, this beer that tastes like London Fog, it's delicious. And I'm like, no,
It's
it
a still
still tastes
beer.
like beer.
It's like, yeah, fundamentally, if you don't like menthol, none of this is going to work for
no.
Yeah. So there is the Fisherman's Friend website divides everything up by like country, and then they have when you view what country that you're in, it'll show you the flavors that are available in your country. But what's also weird about that is you'll only get to see it based on the flavor that's there. So in Canada, we have orange spice right now, which is great because it has a little orange on it, it has some ginger on it, and it's like, yeah, this is called orange spice. But if you go to
You've had that one, right?
fucking Myanmar, I have some on my desk, in fact.
Yeah, right.
If you go to Myanmar or wherever, other places around the world, that's just known as Mandarin and ginger. And so I think that some of these flavors just end up getting different names in different places where they're like, well, this tastes like lemon if you're from this country, but if you're somewhere else, we're going to call it citrus.
I hope that fishermen like trade these. Like there's
What,
like
like
a
cigarettes?
Oh, yeah.
there's like an economy of like trading fishermen's friends back and
Oh,
forth
yeah.
between longshoremen.
Right, because if you're like sailing from like Canada to like Norway or something like that on like a tanker or some sort of crazy shit, and you get there, that there'd be some guys who are working the docks who are like, you're like, oh, I have the salmiak and raspberry for you. It's like, yes, I brought the orange ginger and apple cinnamon for you.
I like that you think that this is a fun training economy and not like some sort of thing where they bet on this with like poker.
It could be that too.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I tend to think of anybody who sails the seas these days as fairly genial people. I've
I
never
think of
met a single
pirates.
one. Oh, okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Pirates also fun people.
Yes, and I think they don't have a trading economy.
My goal is to try all the flavors. I do not have all the flavors yet, because some are only available in certain countries. If you happen to live in a country where you're like, you didn't mention a flavor that I have in my country, please, by all means, pop one in the mail and send it to me. I'll be glad to reimburse you
Here's
for
a
it.
fun fact: if you take the mail time address and instead of writing attention mail time, write attention Beej or somebody else's name,
Yeah.
we just get it directly.
Yeah.
It's
It
fun.
doesn't have to even go through mail time. So
Anyway, we do occasionally also talk about video game news on ChillPoint.
then we have to update that PO box.
What's wrong with it?
It says Victoria, Maine. It should say Station Central.
It does say, well, okay. The
We'll let
Lurbot
somebody else
command
fix
needs
that.
to be updated. I know that it says Station Central on the things that I post.
So that burned about 15 minutes of time. What's going on in video game?
Wait, you didn't come in here with the purpose of just burning time, did you? Because
No.
there are better ways to do it.
No, there's so much to do, but
I
it's
could
like,
get
man,
real fire.
I talked for a while when I really didn't need to.
Well,
But I'm glad I got to show that off. So
So yes, let's talk about the episode Checkpoint, starting with a story that Beej wrote. Even though he wasn't actually presenting in this episode, he wrote a story about that apparently Miyamoto really wants to get Pikmin in everywhere.
yes,
He says he's on a mission. They say I like the quote the quote in the article was like, so is Pikmin being in Mario Galaxy your influence? And he's like, in the sense that I made them do it. I am on a mission.
I was kind of hoping we were gonna. The way you started the sentence made it sound like it's like, oh yeah, Beej wrote this up about Miyamoto saying this. It's like, yeah, he and I were having our weekly call, and
Yeah. You were just chatting with Miyamoto.
like I normally do, and I asked him about all the Pikmin. He's like, oh yeah, I totally want to get Pikmin and everything. I was like, sick, dude. I guess you're 73 years old. You're gonna die soon. Get him in everywhere, I guess.
I mean, if as like as a thing that like you could be doing at work, your boss comes by and he's just like, I just want you to put some Easter egg Pikmin in a thing. That seems like probably one of the mildest requests I've ever heard for some jobs I've worked at.
Yeah.
And like, oh, you just want me to put a thing that floats around, whatever? Great, let's do it.
Now,
Good job on those graphics, by the way.
The graphics are amazing.
Those are great.
Good job, man.
yeah, that was a fun. Before the night before, Beej was like, I wrote up a story, but there's a bunch of photoshops that'll need to be done for it.
I did say feel free not to do all of the suggestions,
Oh,
and then
but
you
there
just
were
did
so
all
many-
of the suggestions.
I really liked the Metroid one. That was
Yeah.
really good, and the Arms one. Like it's just really goofy to see it, like an actual visual for that.
The this starts with talking about that there's secret Pikmin in Mario Wonder.
Yeah.
Now, what I was curious about actually is all the, at least I didn't do like deep dive into it, but the couple of sort of examples I saw and like where I got the screenshots for the shoulder graphic.
Right.
The person demonstrating it was wearing the flower outfit,
Right.
Oh,
which wasn't in the original.
No, it's in
release.
Bellabelle Park.
That's the new release for Switch 2.
Yeah.
And so I was curious as to whether they added Pikmin in after, like in the Switch 2 release, or in like when they
The
updated it for
DLC
other
thing.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe like they only show up when you wear the flower outfit.
I think that's.
I don't know.
I'm going to assume that's got to be the case because it's like if they're showing that off and it's hey Meet in Belleville Park is a new thing for this and there's a new suit and I'm like I feel like all of that probably came in together in full
Yeah,
force.
I could see it because I honestly when the story was like, oh, they're in Mario Wonder, I'm like, did I? I mean, there's a lot that goes on in that game, so maybe I missed it because my brain was like, I don't remember seeing that.
I mean, they're just like you could easily miss them, right? They're just
Yeah.
like hanging out in the background.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're not actually like a gameplay element.
I do like the idea of seeing them in Chibi Robo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that seems like that would be really funny.
I'm
'Cause
sup-
in that game, you can go out onto like the little porch area patio,
Mm.
so there is like an outdoor thing you could.
I mean, in like Park Patrol, you could have seen them show up, but it would have been fun to see them. Like they would have been a lot smaller, I think, even there, because Chibi Robo is small, but he's not as small as the Pikmin
Yeah,
are.
because Pikmin are supposed to be so small that they're invisible to the human eye.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to imagine that when you see the video game and you're like, well, they're probably like this, and it's like, no, they're like really itty.
I had a lot of fun because I did them at different various sizes,
Yes.
including the one from
The murderer in Famicom Detective Club.
Pentagon Detective Club.
I laughed my ass off.
He did.
Because I was like initially, so like for that Photoshop, initially I was like I'll replace her, I'll replace like the person he's talking to
Yeah.
with Pikmin instead, and like that'll be good. And then I sort of messed around with it and like, wait, it's like, ooh, it'd actually be easier to just put a Pikmin like beside her in the
Yep,
picture.
yep.
And then I'm like, oh, but if I move him over, he's like behind her.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I had already found that like, there's all the different Pikmin and there's the what is it, glowing white, or I don't know if they're glowing, but
Oh,
they're,
the glow ones. Yeah.
there's
yeah.
the white Pikmin that have the giant red eyes.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
They're
no.
like the weird
So there's
spooky
the,
Pikmin.
the white ones are
Poison?
for poison, so that you can get through poison patches and stuff. There is in Pikmin 4, they have a new glow Pikmin that only shows up at night for like kind of these tower defense battles.
Because when you play Pikmin, you have to go into your onion or your ship or whatever for the evening. And by the time evening hits, because it's like you can't be outside because otherwise all the animals go nuts and they're too aggressive and you can't beat them. So in Pikmin 4, they were like, we're going to add a night element to it.
Yeah, they added a night level.
I
It's
see.
really. Have you played any of the Pikmin games?
I have not. I hear
Did
they're-
you want to?
I wouldn't mind
Because
trying out.
I have all of them for Switch.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Pikmin 2 just got an update.
I got 1 and 2, and I got 3 and
Yeah.
4.
Two
4
ha-
is the best.
Two on Switch has an update where they've added decor Pikmin
Oh yeah,
from like Pikmin Bloom.
Right, I saw that.
I
Yeah.
remember that.
Yeah.
That wasn't
Perhaps I
enough
will
for me.
try
That
those
wasn't
out.
enough for me to go back to it.
You also have Hey Pikmin for the 3DS.
No, I did not get that because
Oh.
that is not a Pikmin game.
Hey, what up, Pikmin?
That is no.
All right. All right. You
No,
have.
I got Chibi Robo
Ziplash.
Ziplash because my love for Chibi Robo is too great and I wanted the stupid amiibo, and that game also bad, but I still played it.
Oh, okay. Well, that game.
That game is bad.
Okay.
Not Chibi Robo.
No.
with
Chibi
Flash.
Robo Ziplash is not.
Ziplash.
It's not a. Okay, it's
not
not
a
a
Chibi
good
Robo
Chibi
game.
Robo game.
Right.
It's fine. There's a bunch of stuff in it that does not make sense for design choices.
I was gonna say, if not making sense is the problem, Chibi Robo.
Not in a fun
No,
way.
But yes, within the context of Chibi Robo. Anyway, so yes, this was mostly just an excuse to do a bunch of silly photoshops.
Yeah.
I'd be totally into Pikmin just showing up in random things, especially the like non-video game Nintendo things.
Yeah.
like movies, or whatever else. I saw it when I was sort of looking for screenshots and stuff because of course the Mario movie hasn't actually like come out yet, or maybe it comes out today.
I think a
last
little
night.
later in this month.
I
or
thought
something.
that the preview was like yesterday or on Wednesday or something. But okay, yeah, it
Anyway.
comes out whenever this month. Yeah.
So they're like, it has been confirmed that there are Pikmin in it.
Yes.
But there aren't any actual like pictures of it.
Ah. Okay.
There aren't any. And so when I was looking for like Pikmin, I saw that in the first Mario movie. I don't know if there are any actual Pikmin, but there are a couple places where somebody just has like little like statue of a Pikmin like on their shelf or something is just like background clutter.
Right.
Yeah, like I know they've talked about the fact that you can find them at the theme park, and we did find small ones around at the Nintendo Museum, just in weird places and stuff.
Yeah, we
If
got
you
a
look
great
around.
little photo that Heather was like, "Oh, look at this!" I'm like, "I'm taking a photo while nobody can see," because it's from the second floor.
Right.
You're not allowed to take photos at all on the second floor. And so we were near a window looking out onto the patio, and it was like there's nothing else around. Like there's no sort of like museum shit behind me, but there was a Pikmin visible out through the window. And it's like you can't see it from the patio, but you can see it from here.
Yeah.
So she's like, "Look at that!" I'm like, "I'm taking a photo."
There was also like while we
scofflaw.
were walking by outside in the other building where the restaurant was, but like the upstairs because we didn't take any of the art class things.
Yeah.
You could see a hovering present with a balloon,
Yeah, the Animal Crossing
which is an
balloon
Animal
present.
Crossing thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's sort of inherently the way that Pikmin, the way that Pikmin are sort of supposed to be just kind of like weird little dudes who are just sort of sneakily around.
Yeah.
Lends itself very well to them just sort of peeking out of things or going to sleep on something or just sort of being around somewhere.
They
There's some
feel
really cute
inscrutable
shorts.
and alien.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry?
There's some really cute shorts.
Yeah.
From when they brought out Pikmin 3.
Yeah.
They did some little shorts that I think are on YouTube now. They used to be like 3DS download only to watch or something strange, but also the other thing you should definitely note, Paul, the one lesson you should always learn from Pikmin: never trust a guy named Louie.
Oh, Louie's the worst.
All right.
Awful.
I apologize if your name is Louis and you are watching this.
You should change your name.
Apparently,
It's ruined forever.
Pikmin has done you dirty.
I wonder if his name is Louis in Japanese as well.
I don't know.
Then if we move on to Nelson, Nelson wrote some quick points.
Yes.
Which was great. He talked about Box Room, which is a fun, just little home decorating sim kind of game. Nothing, terribly fancy. It's just like you can set up your house
it
and stuff.
uses artwork from your Steam library or something.
So yeah, it's just like you can set up your house and there's furniture and all this kind of stuff, and it's just sort of like a nice little thing. But it's got this extra little weirdness to it where it loads the like games on your shelf. It actually loads up your Steam library.
Yeah,
and
that
loads
sounds
in
pretty
games.
neat. I hope it's good. I do like the idea of ever since we played Unpacking, it's just like I like the idea of a really good game that has the right vibe for stuff like that.
Although the idea of doing that for like Unpacking or something, and like as we talked about in the story, doing it with say the Loading Ready Run Steam account, which has like 2,000 games in it.
See, at that point, I feel like what you're doing is you're making that game a puzzle game.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
how do I fit all my shit on my shelf?
Well, there's that thing, in 3D games, that have like physics and collision detection and stuff. There's that thing where like too many objects are in one spot and it just kind of starts vibrating, and then you like something comes out and it just goes like, and then like your frame rate stops, and then everywhere.
It's calculating trajectories.
The let's game it out guy always ends
I
up
love
with
those.
situations like that.
He
I feel
really-
like that would be a problem.
Really tests his computer.
Yeah. And then Baobab Animation, which is I believe they've won a couple of awards for different shows and stuff. They're a very a legitimate animation company. Has apparently optioned a bunch of Roblox scenarios
Such a weird idea.
in order to turn them into movies or video games or movies or TV shows or something.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. This feels a lot like we're going to make a whatever,
Skibbity Toilet movie.
or a battleships movie or whatever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Where it's like, I guess you're using the name, and I guess, there's one that's like Barry's Prison Run, which I'm assuming is some sort of like prison escape thing.
Who knows what it might mean? Yeah.
So is it, Barry's Prison Run, the movie, is just like a prison escape movie, I guess? I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems weird as an idea. On the other hand, Deep Woken appears to be like a very like pretty serious fantasy. It's got like all sorts. The little bit that I was seeing, had a very dramatic like trailer.
Oh, okay.
Of and all these like monsters and different things. Like somebody has basically using the sort of what I'm sure are somewhat janky world creation tools in Roblox.
Yeah.
And I'm sure very talented scripting and so forth. It seems to have created like a serious, or at least semi-serious game in the kind of, almost looks like sort of an Elder Scrolls kind of thing.
Okay, yeah.
Where you're like running around, there's monsters everywhere and doing
I guess
all this
my hope for this is that the people who have made these things are the ones who are getting paid for the option of them being turned into things, and not Roblox is getting money because it's on their platform and therefore they owned the titles.
Yeah, I don't know. The article that I was looking at didn't have the details about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because if it's signed with the people who made the experience, and it's like what I want to license here is the stuff that's going on in your brain. You've created a story,
Right.
You've created an environment, you've created some
and in
characters.
that case, then I'm like, well, good for them. If it's like, oh, this is
paid
another
Roblox for
another
this.
consequence of making things on Roblox is
They own all the IP.
they own your IP and therefore they get the money for it. Then
Yeah.
boo.
And I mean, in a lot of cases, you're every bit of intellectual property that you can sell to somebody else, thereby has value for multiple parties at that point. Like even just beyond the people who made it and sold it, and the people who saw it and bought it. And now it's like, well, that has a piece of value attached to it, because then you could have other writers or studios or whoever who are saying, oh, so and so bought the rights to Barry's Prison Run. There must be value in that because maybe there's a popularity thing, or there's like an interesting thing going on in that story, and they might come out of the woodwork to be like, oh, well, actually, you know what, we want to acquire this for our studio. We want you to work on it. Or even just like, we want to buy it off of you because you haven't made anything with it in 3 years. And, that kind of, the money can change hands again and again, because it's like, I don't know why they own it, but it must have value, and therefore I'm going to buy it for myself. Like there's all sorts of stuff that can happen that way.
Are these just NFTs?
Yeah, kind of like.
Yeah, but without like some of the weird stuff.
Without the actual NFT part.
Yeah.
And
I guess, yes.
Yeah. I don't know how compelling any of this stuff might
Investment things that have no actual value were a thing long before NFTs, but still.
I mean, we have a Backrooms movie now, apparently, made by a YouTuber. Markiplier just made Iron Lung, based on the video game as well. So it's
didn't
like
Backrooms already come from like a movie or something?
Backrooms.
It was originally just like a viral blog post, or I think it was
Creepypasta?
It was just like literally one picture a person took of like their house after when they were like moving or something.
There was something where it's like
and
this.
It was
Look at this crazy liminal space, right?
And then people started, talking.
Oh, okay. I thought it was more than that. I thought like it was based off of like a book, or like a concept in a book or a movie or something already.
There's just like there are just like some photos of empty spaces. Like when we were shopping for this place, right? And we were looking at like the different places where we could actually move into. Basically, if you just tinted what we were looking at yellow, what we were seeing was just empty classroom size, practically fairly big rooms, and then other rooms that are like, this has a purpose, like Oak Street, Desert Bus. When we did Desert Bus at Oak Street, the rooms that we had available to us, when we walked in and saw it, it was like, this is a very depressing beige painted office with like a very, I can't even remember the color the rug was, and it's got wood trim everywhere, and it feels like there's windows into offices that have nothing in them, so it's like you're looking through a window but there's nothing to see, and that's a kind of a weirdly disorienting thing to see as well. And that style of thing is what defines a lot of the Backrooms content. Also, very yellow fluorescent lighting. And now we have people making movies that are based on the Backrooms idea, because some people are like, oh, well, I want to do a thing that has like there are no monsters here, except maybe there is a monster here, like, and all that. And we made a crap shot about the same kind of idea, right?
So like the games like
We got to it
Exit 8
first.
and stuff kind of be that realm then?
How do you mean
Oh, Exit 8's a game where you're on like a platform that
right.
never ends, but things are like slightly creepy if you pay attention to them.
Right.
And you need to be really paying attention in order to escape.
Right. You're trying to find your way out, and
Yeah.
it's very hard to find your way out. Yeah.
It looks like an interesting game.
And the longer you stay there, the more unsettling it feels, because you're like, actually, it feels like I can't get out. Yeah.
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 I found out recently that I think it's Shibuya Station or Shinjuku Station has over 200 exits.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a video. There's a game about that.
Yeah. So it was just like, but to find out, it's like it's a subway station, but it has 200 exits. I can't even fathom the size of a complex you have to build in order to have that many. I thought a station that had like 7 exits was a lot. Like in Edmonton, I was like, my God, you can leave this in 7 different places. Why would you do that? And it's like, oh,
I remember.
strap in.
I mean that feeling of anybody who's started playing like Persona 5 and get lost in the train station like immediately, because that's like the first thing you have to do.
That's such a good part, though. I mean, it's no. So, you have to get to school, and you have to figure out how to get there. You have to take the train, and you get lost. But like once you do it the first time, you never have to do it again.
Right. Because you'll learn your way.
And
it's such a good part of the game.
But you do have to go through the train station a lot, and like it doesn't take very long to be like, oh, I get how this works.
Okay.
But when you're just sort of like, going through the game, it's like, where am I supposed to be going? Which is an accurate.
Yeah. I mean, it's what you're supposed to feel in that moment
yeah.
too, which is why they make you do it. That's why I think it's such a neat part of the game, because they make you do it. If you've never played this game, and you've played other video games, there's that dread that hits you that's like, am I gonna have to do this at the beginning of every day?
Anyway, and speaking of weird liminal spaces, IKEA and apparently is doing IKEA Japan specifically is doing a collaboration with Pocopia. And they're making real world like IKEA room layouts that then are sort of Pocopia room layouts that are matched by real world IKEA.
Yeah,
layouts.
which makes sense for the kind of game and stuff it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's sort of and it showed the thing shows like a side by side, and they're not like exact, but they're sort of evoke the same feeling.
Right.
A neat idea. I mean, it's a neat idea. And like, IKEA already has the thing of like, here's a sort of example layout, and then you can like buy all the stuff in the room.
Here's what your room can look like, and you can just take the list and say, yeah, I want the whole room for my house. And
one of your cool pieces of IKEA furniture could be a ditto. You don't know.
I mean, I'll hand it to good for IKEA Japan, because so I saw a photo the other day that somebody took. I'm assuming it's a real photo, because I want to believe that it is.
All right.
But it's of the outside of an IKEA, and it's an advertisement for something that is available that you can buy in the IKEA, or like a service that's in the IKEA or whatever. And the illustration that they've used to show it off is characters from Nichijou. It's like Nano and the Hakusei and Sakamoto-san, the little cat. The three of them are like working on something together, and then they have like a price next to it for like the thing that you're like buying or engaging in or whatever it was. I couldn't make out all the text, but it was the kind of thing where I'm like, that is so wild, because it's on the outside of an IKEA, and it's got to be like 30 feet long. This is a massive advertisement essentially for like a thing you can do in there. It just seemed really big, and I'm like, yeah, I'll hand it to IKEA Japan that it feels like their stuff goes viral more about here's some interesting things to do with IKEA. because they're always trying to lean into a space of getting out they're always trying to like get out a message and appeal to like different people all the time, as opposed to like IKEA. It feels like on their own, they're like, our furniture is the message. We want the furniture to be the thing that you think, come here and think about. And IKEA Japan is like, no, we want to have a guy dressed up as a blowhigh, as a stuffed shark.
Yeah.
And we want that guy to illustrate how to make tiny rooms. And then we want to have like his son show up at some point and do some stuff too. And it's like, we're going to make a whole viral series of advertisements that are going to be based on Shark-san showing you how to set up your room, your tiny room in Tokyo. And I'm like, right, we don't have that.
You can imagine
Nothing's coming from Sweden on this, right?
You can imagine, the people at IKEA headquarters being like, are you sure about this? And the Japanese, IKEA people are like, yeah, trust this. This is going to be good.
In fact, it would be silly not to do this at this point, right?
I kind of wonder if a Japanese IKEA is laid out a bit differently.
It's actually an interesting, I was just sort of thinking about that like, both sort of Japan and Scandinavia are known for sort of having a kind of somewhat minimalist aesthetic.
Yeah, and very focused on relaxation
in a lot of furnishings and things. Not all the time, but in certain ways. And so, in some ways, it seems like it's like, oh, I see how IKEA would work there.
Yeah.
But in other ways, it's like not like it is a similar aesthetic, but coming sort of at it from an entirely different angle, which is kind of interesting. I'd be curious what if the IKEA showrooms and the kinds of things that they sell in Japan are substantially different from the rest or
I definitely
their
think
usual stuff.
There's some stuff they probably don't bother to sell because at least not on the at the store, because it's not going to be, it might be too big for what people normally have there.
Yeah, right. or adaptable in that. They're going to sell Billy bookcases because they're going to sell Billy bookcases.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, they're absolutely going to do that.
I feel like if like when we go to an IKEA, the rooms are like really large to show off like all the stuff, and I'm like, I don't know if you have like a really small space and that's like more common. Maybe that's more difficult to imagine what you should be getting then.
Yeah, that's a good point. That like the sort of sample spaces that they create within the IKEA are probably, they want to match whatever the sort of typical thing is in wherever they are.
Yeah.
So they're probably designing the spaces a little bit differently in IKEA Japan than they are in America or wherever.
I really love the fact though that when I go look at IKEA furniture, it's for Canada especially, right? That it's like they give the measurements in metric and they also give them in imperial, because all of our houses are still constructed in imperial. Like they're all constructed in like inches and feet, right? And so for them it's like, okay, well this piece of furniture is 15.25 inches along the top or something crazy like that, right? And you're like, why? And they're like, oh, because that's actually this many millimeters, which is like a perfectly round number. And you're like, and you're not even giving the exact, because it's 15.25 and it's like, yeah, it's probably more like 15 and 9/16 or something crazy, like whatever it is. It's like we had to line this up because we can't give you the 30 seconds of an inch on this thing. So, but we know the millimeters is this much, and so therefore this thing fits like this. And it kind of made me think like when you go to IKEA to go buy, if you're going to go buy an entire bedroom to put into your house. They've got everything there sized and fit and made and laid out exactly to be like, you can buy this entire like wardrobe system that goes along your wall in your house. And it's like, yeah, I can. And when I get it in there, it'll either be 3 millimeters too short or 6 millimeters too big, because my wall is only going to be cut to the size of how many inches, from one side to another.
Oh, it's your fault for not having an IKEA house.
Exactly, right?
Anyway. Let's move on to a story that Graham wrote about Mind's Eye, or specifically Build a Rocket Boy, the developers of Mind's Eye, and the whole situation with their CEO, Mark Gerhard, who has been making a lot of a big sort of stink about this idea that that Mind's Eye was the release of Mind's Eye was sabotaged, or there
were a whole bunch of people working against it.
Yeah, there were a bunch of people
At the
working
very least.
against it to sort of tank the launch.
And that's why it tanked.
Right. And I mean, I talked about this before a couple weeks ago, I think, or we talked about this where, my theory about this is the from the Mitchell and Webb, like, Are We the Baddies?
Oh yeah.
Sketch, where it's like, where they're like, they're like, well, we've got, skulls on our caps, that makes us, that doesn't
Skulls are scary.
Skulls are scary. And then he goes, well, you're not listening to Allied the enemy propaganda, are you? Of course they'd say it's bad.
Yeah.
And he's like, but they don't get to design our uniforms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why did we put skulls on our caps? And it's this kind of same thing. Like, sure, let's say that there was, even if there wasn't, say, a coordinated smear campaign
Against Mind's Eye. Okay.
against Mind's Eye, even if there was some sort of, that whatever, it was being unfairly maligned prior to release,
Right.
to that really put it on the back foot on its release. That wouldn't have mattered if the game was good.
Yeah. Because ultimately what would have happened
Shouldn't
is
have
that
gotten that low in a score then, yeah.
because like people would have started playing the game.
It's
Some
like-
people would have started playing
Yeah.
the game, and then you would have had other people like reviewing it and stuff, and then there would have been things coming out and being like, I don't know why everyone's saying such terrible shit about this game. It's actually pretty fun. You'd
Like-
start seeing things like that come out.
Like these conspiracy guys, sure, or it's like, these bad people who are messing up your launch don't get to make your game. That's still you making your game, and
You might have a very like kind of failure of a launch, but you should be able to pick it up in the next few weeks following that. And maybe there's a thing of like, oh, well, once a gamer hears from somebody that the game sucks, so don't bother buying it, they just kind of move on with their life and their money. Maybe they don't come back and revisit it. But also, a lot of gamers want to have things to feel mad about, and so they'll come back and keep reading the news all the time, and they would eventually see things be like, actually, Mind's Eye is good, actually.
Yeah, if you're thinking of the Make FPS Games Great Again Hat Games trailer thing, that was Splitgate.
Splitgate, yeah,
Different one.
different deal. Also, didn't go too well, but
Yeah, but that's
different deal.
Yep.
Although one of the interesting things about this, so the one of the big pieces, one of the sort of the buzz around Mind's Eye, because so from my perspective, what I remember is there was a lot of very positive excitement about Mind's Eye.
You're right.
Because it was one of the guys who worked on GTA 5 or whatever.
Okay. Yeah.
The Bill the Rocket Boy, he was the co-founder of the studio. And so people were like, ooh, no, I mean, we're still waiting for another GTA game. But there was a lot of anticipation. So I like my perception was that there was a lot of positive buzz about it. So so what's kind of interesting though is that's there was a fair amount of buzz around that it's like, oh, this is Bill the Rocket Boy's the guy this guy who used to work for Rockstar. So there's some interesting stuff there, and it turns out that this person, the CEO Mark Gerhardt, different guy. Not that person. That the guy who previously worked on GTA is Leslie Benzies, something like that. Anyway, and apparently, I learned this from the YouTube comments. Thanks people for talking. Apparently, Mark Gerhardt is best known for working on RuneScape. Or for being the CEO of whatever the company that runs RuneScape.
Can't help you with that.
And among the RuneScape fan base, known for tanking the thing.
Or at least being in
Jagex.
charge when the worst of the things was happening.
Yeah, when a bunch
So,
of the
Decide how you want that to feel, but
a bunch of the like microtransaction bullshit happened that people really hated. So people were like, "That's this guy? Oh, I get it now."
It's funny when it comes to these kind of things, because we talk about this a lot when it comes to studio heads, that you inevitably, like, there's a lot of studio heads that clearly we don't have any respect for. In general, the checkpoint's kind of like, man, we're not a fan of this person, we're not a fan of this person, and it's kind of like those kind of things overall. It takes something special, I think, to be like the head of a studio and then have your game tank have the game tank under your purview, and then you leave and you go start a new studio or you go do whatever, and you're like, look, that had nothing to do with. I'm not the only person who programs a game, right? It's not like Steve Jobs made the iPhone. He's like, he sure fucking didn't. He was just the tastemaker in what it had to finally be like. Ultimately, he was like, it needs to pass my smell test, and that's when I know that it's ready. But I'm not the one making it. I'm just telling you how I want it to be, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how that's going to happen, and that's the same thing here, where you're like, okay, these guys are supposed to be the person who says, I'm happy with this, or this is how this needs to be, or whatever. And software is hard. Software is amorphous and a weird blobby thing. And it's, I will always respect anybody who can program software because it takes an awful lot of work. Mm-hmm. And when you move from a studio to another studio with new employees, and then you do that again, and you end up in another place like that, and it's like you're kind of a serial CEO of different companies that are not having success, I start to ask myself, how do you have the ability to do that? Like, why haven't other people just straight up given up on you at some point?
It is, there is that fascinating, it's not just in the video game industry, but you always hear about that,
Yeah.
It's like the new CEO of this company is going to be coming in from some other company where they were CEO, and everyone's like, but didn't the previous company crash and burn? It's like, yes. So it's great because that means that he's available.
Yeah. And I can never figure that out. I have a business degree, and it's like I cannot figure out whatsoever why
if his
that
previous
would be
company didn't crash and burn, we wouldn't have been able to hire him for only $5 million.
Yeah. And it's the.
I don't think I've ever had an opportunity where I've lost a job or anything where someone's just like, oh great, that means you're available so you can come work for us.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Like there's a guy, is it Ahoy, who does someone's going to correct me here, YouTuber who makes videos about the gaming industry from time to time, and did one about Peter Molyneux. But up to
right, it was a good video.
Yeah, it was Peter Molyneux up to basically through the entire Amiga era, and that was it.
Oh, I see.
And the way it was positioned when you're watching it is it's like, wow, this is kind of amazing. You get a really good sense of who he was and everything else. And it basically is like, here's all of his successes up to the point where his very last success. And we're not going to talk about everything beyond that because you know what happened. What I'm here to do is to lay out for you, how did he get to the point where nobody can say no to this guy, right?
Although I suppose it's indicative if the video stopped in the Amiga era.
Yeah. That's kind of the thing, right? It's like they're like trying to pivot to PC and whatever. And it was just kind of amazing to see that all laid out, because then you start to feel like, oh, I get it. I get where this attitude comes from of, trust these CEOs, especially because Peter Molyneux's push from back then apparently was to act as if everybody involved in the process, that they were all rock stars. And it was like, we gotta get out there and bluster and bloviate, and we got huge promises, and we gotta let everybody know stuff. And I'm like, I feel like a lot of these CEOs are of this same ilk of we got to say the best things, whatever, and believe our own bullshit.
Well,
yeah, I would say Peter Molyneux and that thing, like he's to me his sort of style of bullshit is like a little bit different than the just sort of like business, Mr. Business. Who they're just like, trying to get, laying off people and trying to get as much money or whatever. Peter Molyneux's got this thing of sort of being this sort of auteur kind of thing. But
I'm an idea man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think like a lot of people who have that are people who started out smaller, got success quickly.
Yeah.
And yeah. Now, something that is talked about a little bit, but that sort of is probably part of the reason why Mind's Eye is having, sort of went the way it did, is because, of course, there's this whole thing with, it's like, oh, we're launching these tools for people to build their own experiences with Mind's Eye, right? So that's that sort of like, we'll have user generated content, which is obviously not a solution if you have 7 people playing your game. But the story goes, apparently, is that Mind's Eye wasn't supposed to be really a game. It's that what they were trying to launch was the content creation platform.
Oh, right.
It was going to be like what did Sony make? The
Dreams?
Dreams, yeah.
Yeah.
It was going to be like that kind of a content creation platform, and then Mind's Eye was going to be like the sort of demo that came with it to show the kinds of stuff you could do.
Oh, I see, yeah.
And somewhere along the way, that flipped to, they're like, this content creation platform isn't going to work. Let's just make Mind's Eye a game.
Yeah.
And it was not up to snuff, apparently.
I think making a content creation platform, well, that's like a thing that I feel like we're going to see a lot of people trying to do. That's an incredibly difficult thing to do in the vein that people want to do it in, like especially with the whole like, oh, we want to basically get like where Roblox is in making money, or like that the people make all this stuff in Minecraft and like all these things. So it's like, it's a popular idea to have that, but I feel like to do it on purpose in a way that like is going to be really flashy, or that's going to be the appeal.
Right.
I don't know if that ever really takes off, because Dreams was kind of built that way and it kind of just cratered.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough because obviously you need a bunch of content on there for people to actually go there in the first place.
Yeah, and they kind of also try to do it in a lot of like social ways too, right? Like that's what Meta's always trying to push, and like all these other things where it's kind of like, oh, Fortnite has a real social aspect to it and everyone does it, so let's just make a game that does that. And it's like, yeah, except that's not the only reason people play that, and that's kind of more of an after effect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, Fortnite does have the thing where, like, they've got a lot of these sort of custom game things, but that is sort of supported by the fact that it also is a game that millions of people are playing.
Yeah.
The base Fortnite thing, so that you sort of have a built-in customer base.
Yeah, it feels like it's akin to someone coming in and being like, no, we're going to make the next MMO, and it's going to be huge and great. And you're like, and how are you going to get anyone to play it?
Yeah.
Because they got that already.
Yeah. You have to basically sand off all of the rough edges of somebody else's product. You have to realize it's like, what are the things that are making it hard on people
like it's
to
a
play
really
the other
hard thing to do.
Yeah.
I will say, this is a different story.
Yeah.
And I only just read about it earlier today, and I think there's going to be some more info coming out of it. But the idea of this sort of content creation platform that I'm like, oh, maybe this would actually work. Gary of Gary's Mod.
Oh yeah.
There is his company. I forget what the name of the company is, but anyway. They are releasing a new.
I hope it's Gary's job.
They're releasing a new product that's basically a content creation, like a content creation engine, kind of in all the ridiculous stuff people have done with Gary's Mod. But this is a content creation thing using based on the Source engine. Face Punch is Gary's company. And apparently built into it will be tools for taking the thing you make and publishing it independently on Steam.
Neat.
Oh,
That's a cool idea.
So, like, and to me, that seems much more interesting because, like, now it's not, your on the Fortnite store or whatever, or you're in Roblox or whatever.
Yeah, you're
you can
inside
actually make a real Steam game.
Yeah, you're a store inside. You're inside the store that's already inside a game that everyone has to have that game in order to buy your thing. Yeah.
Now, whether that means that there's going to be a whole new series of crap stuff just showing up on Steam, it'll have to be filtered out.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, that's part of what happens when you have.
That's what Watch and Play is for.
That's part of when you make something easily accessible to do and publish. You are going to get a lot of stuff that is not very good.
Yeah,
but that's the price you pay for allowing that kind of accessibility.
Gary's Mod is where like Skibbity Toilet came from.
Yeah,
like if you've ever hung out on any of the fan fiction sites, you know that anyone can write a fanfic, and there's a lot that are really not good.
Yeah, those people, anybody can do it, and they do. Holy shit!
But there's a lot that is good, and now you have to filter. But I would take everybody being able to write over just only like good stuff showing up, because you're not going to get stuff that's nearly as creative.
Yeah. I always think that construction kits are super interesting, like RPG Maker and the Game Designer's Garage, whatever the thing is that Nintendo made, to kind of teach you the concepts of like this is how you can make very simple games in that. And like I love all that stuff that exists as a means of shortcutting a lot of the how do I program a thing to work in a certain way? How do I get something to work like this? And even going back to Famicom Family Basic, where they were like, you can make a game in Family Basic and we'll give you like sprites to control and like all this other, we'll basically have standard toolkits that are built into this, so you can kind of get started with doing this from scratch. And that's how Sakurai got started, in fact. And that idea of make a thing that lets other people make the thing. The nice thing about that too is if your construction kit is for sale, then it's like all we have to do is just make a very good construction kit, and we just sell that over and over and over to people and just keep improving that on our own. We don't ever have to release a game. We don't have to make anything that's entertaining. We just have to make a thing that people can use to make the things that are entertaining.
I mean, that's Unity and Epic and
Godot and like all the engine people, but
yeah, I mean back in the day, that was the whole like the Unreal games were basically ads for the Unreal Engine.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
We're like, hey, check out this game, in kind of the same way Mind's Eye, but good.
I see what you're saying.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, the ending bit of this story about Mind's Eye, which sort of like we often stories come up on ChillPoint where this is something that's been kind of bubbling for a while. Mm-hmm. This particular one, Mark Gerhardt has been kind of talking.
I think we brought it up months ago too.
Yeah, he's been kind of talking about this for a while. When it
first came out, and it was like, it's sabotage.
But the thing that kind of put this story over the top, and we're like, you know what, we should actually write a ChillPoint story about it now, is this additional piece, which is so now that Build a Rocket Boy or Mind's Eye has been dropped from IO Interactive, the people who make Hitman were originally the publisher, and they've now dropped, or they mutually decided to part ways.
I see. Yeah,
and it's actually a good thing for Mind's Eye because whatever. So they're retooling there was originally going to be a mission added to Mind's Eye. There was a tie-in with Hitman.
Oh, I see. Mm-hmm.
So they're retooling that mission.
Yeah, because that got dropped.
So they're retooling that mission, and apparently, the new version of this mission is going to incorporate elements from this.
From their complaint?
From this actual thing that apparently happened to them. So they're going to somehow incorporate evidence possibly from this conspiracy that's going on against them.
Yeah, there's going to be evidence in the DLC.
Which
and I
don't know how I feel about having to work on a game. If I was in that studio having to be like, and then this thing happened and all these things, and the people seeing the programmers being like, I have to nod and say yes or I don't get my paycheck this month. So yeah, Mark. No, absolutely. We'll do it that way. Jesus Christ.
I mean, the circumstance in which this did all actually happen.
Yeah.
But, everyone, the idea that of like sort of taking this thing that, taking this terrible thing that happened to your studio and turning it into content, I kind of get behind.
Yeah, sure.
Kind of, except for the fact that, like, okay, what I don't get behind on that is that if it's still a thing that's under investigation, as he mentions that, there are police who are looking through things or whatever, I'm like, that seems like a bad idea to put that in there until you actually get a resolution, for one.
Yeah.
And then the other thing,
because if you're going to name names, it's like, or if you're going to name pseudonyms, right? It really feels like, this could end up being super gross.
Yeah, and that's the thing. In the article I read, he's quoted as saying, "Given this has happened to us, I'm going to own this narrative. We will use these people, these names, and these facts for our own fun. We're going to put some of these names into our upcoming spy mission." And I'm like, the moment you put real people names into this, I feel like, depending on how you do it, that's considered slander.
Yep.
And that, I don't, like, again, if you don't have, like, it's one thing to be like, I'm doing, this thing happened to me, everybody knows about it, I'm going to write a book about it, I'm going to do this thing about it, I'm going to put some real facts into this thing. Sure. But if your thing is, well, people are still working it out and I can totally prove it, and I'm going to put the evidence in a video game, and you're wrong.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. I just
say, there was the prominent, just recently, the thing with like, Afro Man getting sued by the police for, he making content out of something really bad happened to him.
Yep.
Of course, he had all sorts of surveillance footage and various things.
Yeah.
So he was kind of covered on that respect. Yeah. But in some ways, you could see the parallels there, assuming everything that he says is true, which is probably not true.
Yeah.
But anyway. Speaking of things that aren't true, the art in Crimson Desert was, in fact, there was a bunch of art or like art as in paintings in the game on people's walls that were AI content, AI generated content. Supposedly, it was placeholder content, which, that is always a weird.
I kind of feel like,
as somebody who's done a fair amount of graphic design work for, big companies, if you're doing placeholder content, you either put FPO in big letters on it,
right?
Or you put, it's like lorem ipsum, bloody blah stuff.
Yeah, that's why we have those.
You make it really obvious.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the problem I've seen with a lot of stories that come up where they're like, oh, well, that was meant to be placeholder content, and then it got through by accident or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like, of
course it's going to get through by accident.
Isn't that the reason why you're supposed to make it like bright yellow and like completely wrong and not?
Yeah, it's why the missing texture. It's why the missing texture thing is that checkerboard of like magenta and black. It's like it's so obvious that you're not going to miss it.
Right. It's like, why? Yeah. If it was indeed placeholder content, why specifically use an AI system to generate content that looked as close as possible to what you want?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why not use like the same piece of art throughout the entire thing, just so that anyway. So, who knows whether that's also, we covered this last week. Cameron did a bigger story about it, and in that he says like, take that explanation as you will, whatever. That's not what this story is really about. But what this story is about is they replace the art with real art, which is nice.
I mean, it kind of looks like it's all. I mean, part of sort of points out that it's all artwork that looks like somebody put in classic pieces of art to be whatever, but I think you can put classic pieces of art into
which are
your
not
thing just
copyright.
Fine without. So you could have made those actual placeholders without doing an AI generated thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A lot of images that are considered public domain that you could just utilize in that way. Yeah. I think it's. I said to Cameron, I like, oh, did you happen to reference hotel room art? And he's like, no, I didn't, but yeah, I can see why that's because the thing with hotel room art, especially in this case, it's like a piece of art in a hotel room, like one just pick a painting at random, right? Took more care and more artistry from the person or maybe multiple people involved in creating that piece of artwork in the first place in a hotel room than the AI art did. That is like there's more humanity in a piece of hotel room art than there is in the AI stuff that came out of it that we're supposed to be like, oh, this is acceptable to have here. And it's kind of crazy to think that because hotel room art in a lot of ways is specifically meant to fill a space on the wall that you're not looking at with other things that you're not going to look at. And I find that like before I'm like, oh, hotel room art feels so incredibly dispiriting because it's like it's meant to be so bland. And I have hotel room art in our house, by the way, in a box because my mother bought a lot of these things to hang up in a bathroom or like hang up wherever else. It's like it's meant to fill the wall, meant to give you a space, meant to feel like nice and whatever. But you're not really ever looking at it, right?
Like speaking of like IKEA, like you can buy art at IKEA.
Yeah, you can go into Winners here or HomeSense and you can buy all sorts of stuff that feels like it's supposed to be on your wall and never to be looked at once you actually hang it up on your wall. And that really like when I realized the thing of like, holy shit, like a real human had to go out and take that photo, or they had to and then they had to like treat it a certain way to make it like look a certain way to hang on a wall, or they went out and they painted this landscape and then this hotel bought like 5,000 copies of it to put in all their hotels all around the world or whatever. They bought it from some stock photo company or something like that. And I was just like, right, there's more humanity attached to that one thing that is just basically being reproduced as, don't look at this, it's just here so your eye doesn't feel weird about having a giant white space on the wall. And how that feels a little more encouraging to me about the quality of even hotel room art next to looking at AI art, which is just, I don't care what this is, make a thing that looks like art, click, go, great, bang, 20 of these for the game and let's move on with our lives. It's like, that's some bullshit. Like that's, disappointing as hell.
Julian in the chat made an interesting point saying that like that there's zero reason for it to be AI art other than to fulfill the requirement for using AI.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
in some ways, if you think about it like in that context, you know, if whatever the whatever directive comes down from on high,
right,
that it's like we want to use more, AI is the cool new thing. I'm using it to write all my emails, including this one that I'm sending this directive in. Yeah, probably. But anyway,
10% of our next thing has to have it in it.
AI.
Yeah.
And if you are, an artist or a creative professional working at a video game, I could see that you'd be like, you know what? We don't care about the art in the paintings. That's a good place to put some AI stuff if we've got to put some AI stuff. At least we won't put it into anything that we actually care about.
Yeah.
Which is kind of, I guess, kind of better.
There's like a back and forth, of course, of like, we have some stuff that is some studios who've been working on games for a very long time who are taking their AI stuff out because they were playing with it when it was like really new.
Right.
And, trying some stuff out. We have the whole back and forth between, well, is it fine if it's like, well, it's placeholder stuff or it's whatever, like placeholder texts
or it's like concepts,
or I'm using it for just my emails, or I'm just like, what part of the creation process is it in? Because it used to be like I found that for a while there used to be different arguments about AI use, and then people really latched onto the creative aspect of it, especially because it was coming up a lot in the artistic areas.
And I think that that's definitely...
And now that feels like the only argument people are trying to to fight against, where they're like, well, it's fine though because I'm not using it in that way.
Yeah.
It does definitely feel like using a generative AI thing for doing art or doing whatever video or creative writing definitely feels different to me anyway than like using it for your email or using it to help you write a computer program or using it for something that would sort of otherwise be the job of a creative professional feels different to me than, and even though in a lot of cases the technology involved is very similar, if not the same, it does feel different to me than using stuff. And everybody has a different sort of area where they fit in that.
When I think about how it gets advertised, like, okay, I've seen some email ads that'll be like, oh, this will help you do your email. But when you look at it, it's just like, this is just a spell checker.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't really need to be a generative thing. Or you'll see, what was it? Apple was like, oh, like, use our whatever, push this button, it'll turn it into a poem. And I'm like, if you're writing me an email and constantly turning stuff into poems, go away. I don't want to talk to you.
So goddamn obnoxious.
Like, why?
Oh,
why does
God.
anyone want that?
Yeah,
No.
I don't know who at the top thought, we need to demo that because that's gonna be a killer fucking feature of this. It's like, I have no. Okay, I'm not gonna get into that. We have so many other checkpoint things we can be talking about today. If it was me and I had to come up with AI art for this purpose, I would have just gone back in time, found all the Google Deep Dream stuff where everything looks like dogs and or like cinnamon buns, and I would have just like taken a bunch of that and been like, there's all of our art. It's all AI generated. Let's move on with our life.
Anyway, the final story that we have in the episode is Xbox and Fanta.
Jesus Christ.
I made Beej watch
together.
this one because I really needed him to understand the characters that were associated with the different flavors.
Do you want Wanta Fanta or Wanta Fanta? That particular aspect of it really bugs me.
Fanta, yeah.
Yeah, Wanta Fanta is their thing. But that doesn't, you have to say, you're changing how it's pronounced in the different spots.
I feel like it's like because in other countries it'll probably be Fanta. So Wanta Fanta. And they're kind of like, okay. And they're like, well, that's great. Just put it in all the other markets. Well, they call it Fanta. Why would they call it Fanta? It should be Fanta. It's like,
Fanta?
Doesn't matter.
Supposed to be Fanta?
I don't know, right? Well, because it was created for the German market originally. So I'm like, maybe the A's are supposed to be pronounced the same way.
I don't care. I'm going to call it Fanta.
But so they have this it's obviously marketing tie-ins between two companies is nothing particularly unusual. It's, I mean, for one thing, the associating various characters with different specific Fanta flavors is very funny. Mm-hmm. But also just this this press release sort of effusive thing, two brands that thrive on creativity and self-expression. It's like, like I want to go into the Fanta factory and be like, hey, every employee here, what was the last thing that you felt really involved your self-expression that you worked on here at Fanta?
What was your last creative choice when you were bottling strawberry Fanta?
Anyway,
I like VP Sparkles though. I'm like, fucking great title. I don't care if it's longer. I'm like, no, just now you're VP Sparkles to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The vice president, Coca-Cola vice president of global sparkling flavors. So, he's not even the president of global sparkling flavors. No. Presumably there's,
He's busy.
But at least it's global, right? At least I'm the VP of global sparkling flavors. It's like, yep.
I imagine I was in, The Simpsons with, Skinner's mom. It's like, I'm not the mayor. I'm not the principal of the line, mother.
Yeah.
You never will be.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm the vice president of global sparkling flavors.
Yeah.
But you'll never be the president,
President.
will you? Shut up.
Oh God.
Do you think, in terms of hierarchy at Coke,
Right.
do you think sparkling flavors vice president is above the like still flavors president?
I think they're both in the same category. I think
Because like Coke obviously is like the big product for
Right.
Coca-Cola Company, which puts the sparkling guy higher in the
than the still guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So global still flavors and global sparkling flavors will both have VPs, but I think they both answer to the senior vice president of global deliciousness.
Yeah. Anyway.
You know what? You make fun of their titles all they want. They get paid way more than we do.
Yeah, that's why I make fun of their titles all
It's
I
true.
want.
That's all we have. Let us have this.
Coke owns Minute Maid, so technically that would be a still flavor.
And lots of they own lots of water for one thing.
Yeah.
I don't
God,
know.
the
Wait,
SVP in charge of Dasani.
that's another question.
I'll pump it out of the ground and we put it in a bottle.
Does the sparkling flavors or the still flavors person, assuming there is a still flavors guy, are they in charge of water? Does that have a flavor?
Yeah.
Do you taste different kinds of waters? They have different flavors.
Yeah, they count that as a flavor. Okay. I like the idea though that the global sparkling flavors guy is like he was the dude who came up with the Coke freestyle machine with the Coke cloaca, Coke-aca.
I think Beach broke.
Doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work as well, no. But I think the Coke cloaca was this guy's thing, and it's like you can put all of my flavors into one glass. Yeah.
That's just swamp water.
Yeah. But they call it Coke Freestyle now instead of swamp water.
Well, they're wrong.
And then there's the great line of, "We imagine a world where the irresistible taste of Fanta is so delicious, it pulls players into a multiverse-size adventure," which is a very like.
I like they don't call it a multiverse adventure. They call it a multiverse size adventure. I enjoy that. I like the differentiation.
Have a sip of your pineapple Fanta and have been isekai'd to a world
That's
bigger than I
yeah.
can possibly imagine.
It's a very like Willy Wonka thing where it's like, I invented these chocolates and you eat them and it takes you on a world of adventure.
Yes.
But
there's just psilocybin in these.
I mean, that's a huge amount of like the marketing for a lot of soft drinks. They do that, like, you drink the thing and then you're like in a tropical place. You know, that's like a pretty standard marketing angle.
Yeah, you pick up a bottle of Orangina and you're a furry all of a sudden. Also, I think it's Rockbusher points out that in Coke there's a president, the McDonald's division. That's because McDonald's Coke products that are Coke products that are served at McDonald's undergo a weird sort of metamorphosis. They have to do multiple things. For example, if you drop your phone in McDonald's Sprite, I'm led to believe your phone will start charging.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, yes, together we are creating experiences that meet fans where they are. So
Just on their fucking couch. Like.
people were drinking Fanta, so we'll put things on the box. Anyway,
People drink things while they play video games.
and yeah, famous iconic video game character Toyota Land Cruiser.
Yeah, God, that was good. The whole story, like, Graham is effusing joy through the whole story.
Yeah, watching Graham laugh while he was doing the delivery. I'm glad that he got that in one take because I don't know if he would have gotten the same vibe out of it on a reshoot.
Yeah. Oh, if you guys are not sharing the Orangina furry commercials with each other, you should start doing that now. But yeah, it is really just like there's so much. Watching that story, like watching Graham deliver that, I felt like I would love for this to go on for another couple minutes of just basically slicing and dicing everything that's been said and pointing out the abject absurdities of everything. And I'm like, but no, it would be gilding something that is already kind of lovely and terrible at the same time.
No, it was good length.
It was like it needed to be that length because it's like you just need to be taken from one ridiculous thing to another, and It's like not everything had to have a balloon puncturing joke tied to it because they were so weirdly obvious that it felt like it would be, you're just kind of going into the same bucket of, oh, we're just pulling apart PR speak. And it's like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of weirdly obvious,
Yeah.
PUBG Blind Spot apparently has been shut down after 2 months in early access. And yeah, it's saying they're coming up because people, either the people had a blind spot or possibly the developers had a blind spot. To be honest, like the trailers for the game look kind of neat. Like it seems like it doesn't look like PUBG,
right?
But it looks like the idea of doing it as like a top-down shooter seems like a neat idea.
Very like classic GTA 1 and 2.
Yeah, actually kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And of course it's PUBG Blind Spot because PUBG is the brand name
Yes.
of the thing. It doesn't, PUBG isn't the 100-person
Battle Royale
thing.
No, that's Battlegrounds, right?
Yeah, that's PUBG Battlegrounds.
Yes.
Because the BG stands for Battlegrounds, so it's PUBG BG.
Wasn't it public under Battlegrounds?
Player Unknown's Battlegrounds.
Battlegrounds,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Originally when we used to know what it stood for.
Yeah. Player Unknown's Battlegrounds.
Yep. Like ATM machine.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway. So in a very efficient way, we actually because especially with the quick points, we actually used like most of the stories that I sourced
Except for
this
one.
week. Except we didn't really talk about any April Fool's stories.
No.
Because mostly they suck. But
yeah, I literally read an article where someone was just mad about what Square did as their thing. I was like, yeah, fair.
Yeah, most April Fool's things are stupid. But some are fun.
Yeah, sometimes they can be fun.
So yeah, you want to talk about the Pokopia one?
So for Pokemon Pokopia, they did a 1-day event where you could get where you went around and you talked to Pokemon who would pretend to be other Pokemon. You had to guess who they were being, and if you got that quiz correct
by itself, the idea of like Pokemon pretending to be other Pokemon, I find very fun.
That's just Ditto.
Well, no, but not changing your appearance. Just
mocking other Pokemon or mimicking
just like,
other Pokemon.
What does a Diglett think Clefairy looks like?
Yeah. And if you completed this quiz, you got an inflatable Sudowoodo.
Which is apparently something that has been in the game in other times.
You can get it in the game in other places.
Yeah.
He's like
this is just like this is where thing.
Flailing arm, flailing tube Sudowoodo.
Yeah.
And I think the article basically stated if you missed this event and you wanted to do it, you just change your time clock and do it. So,
also I'm sure
it's a fun little thing.
I'm sure that next year, I think that next year people will still be playing Pokopia because I think the kind of cozy element of it is, despite the fact that it also sounds like this has the setting and the storyline and the lore is a lot. There's a lot more going on in it in terms of accomplishable stuff versus Animal Crossing, which is here is an island. You live on the island. Animals will show up and build houses.
In one of the previous Animal Crossings, there's a character named, I think it's Blanca. It's a cat. It's a white cat with no face.
Yeah.
And it shows up on April Fool's Day. And it also mimics people, by which I mean assumes their identity. And you have to be able to tell the real one apart from the fake one. And
then
if
when
you're
figure out who it is.
If you're correct, then your animal friends don't hate you. I don't think they care, honestly, overall. But they get very stressed out when you're trying to figure out who it is. I think you get like a photo.
Okay.
It's the.
But it is disturbing. Not as disturbing as Zipper T Bunny.
No, which they apparently are thinking about leaving out of events in Animal Crossing from now on. there was a consideration. I'm like, I don't know about that. We don't like Zipper very much, but I don't think that you leave Zipper out of the Easter events.
I think the people who do Animal Crossing shouldn't let themselves get bossed around, and they should just go ape shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Oh my God.
Hear that? People who make Animal Crossing, don't get bossed around.
No.
Do what we say.
No. Go ape shit.
Yeah, I'm sure you want to go ape shit sometimes.
Yeah.
You should totally do it.
Yeah. Put Pikmin in your game.
I mean,
so-
they did have Pikmin items in New Leaf.
Ah, see? All right.
There is a obviously there's this sort of larger thing of April Fools, or as you often call it, Internet Lies Day, which there's always, because it's in like this kind of April Fools thing where it's just like, this isn't a joke or a like we're pretending to be something. It's just, this is a fun little thing.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, the fact that it's only available for one day is like, why not do it for more?
I mean,
but still.
the problem with April Fool's Day isn't the day itself. It's the fact that everyone thinks that they can be funny. And a whole bunch of jokes get told that are not good jokes.
No.
Well, a lot of them aren't even like jokes. They're just like, here's the thing that is not going to happen. Ha, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and again, that's the kind of joke you might get out of a 5-year-old while they're
Yeah.
still trying to figure
Exactly.
out what jokes are like. But now
Exactly.
you have everybody kind of doing it, and that's why it's like a weird day. But yeah, like the stuff that's more fun, because I did see somebody make a post that they were like, they really liked April Fool's Day because like the next day they would get, they watch a lot of YouTube, and so by the next day their YouTube sub list is just like 20 different videos of shit posting that they get to catch up on.
Oh, sure.
And
Yeah.
that's very fun. And I'm like, sure. But if you have the wrong friend group, you have the friend who constantly like decides it would be hilarious to try to tell you that they broke their leg or something.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not funny.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
if
a
something
thing that
serious.
happens.
Yeah.
And then
And-
you get that medium thing where a company will do something that sounds really cool, and then you just get heartbroken because you're like, that's never happening.
Like when I came into the office, Matt was like, "Are you enjoying April Fool's Day?" And I'm like, "I haven't seen much of anything so far." And he's like, "Oh, have you seen Scryfall's webpage?" And I said, "I have not." And he's like, "You should look at it." I'm like, "Then you should show it to me." And so went into
Skyfall's page was pretty silly.
went into his office, and it was Web 0.9. It was beautiful, and I was
Yeah.
like, "This is." For anybody who is my age, it's like a shot in the arm from the past. It's like, I remember when the web looked like this. I remember when I made websites that looked like this. And for anybody who was born after the 2000s kind of idea, who had never really got to experience this thing, would be like, oh, ew, why is it so weird and ugly? And be like, yeah, that's that was the web back then. And that is. I mean, I had a chuckle out of it. I laughed. I was like, that was very funny that you guys went to the effort to do that. Good for you.
And and there was no sort of implication that was like
The new design. Yeah.
right?
Yeah, like if you're using it as an excuse to be a little silly and out of character on that kind of day, I feel like that's fun. That
Yeah.
can be really good. It's just not everybody does that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if anybody at home has a Stream Deck. Did this also happen to you? So
I didn't turn mine on
Oh,
that
no.
day. What happened?
Elgato did a funny thing.
Okay.
They were
Uh-huh.
like, we're going to put out a new Stream Deck. It's like the regular Stream Deck, except it's got like a lever, like a
F yeah.
That
Like-
sounds cool.
but it's got like a slot machine lever on the side.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
I see.
And then the picture they show the picture of somebody doing it, and they like do it, and then all the buttons spin stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, that's funny. I mean, the thing with the lever could actually be kind of cool.
Yeah.
But they're like a lever, and they're like, oh, that's funny. The way I found out about it is I was setting up for the stream last night. I opened up the Elgato control app, and it pushed hey, there's a new update to this app.
Oh no.
And the now we support the update with the lever was like in the patch notes for this update. And I was like, what the? So is this a real update?
Oh my god.
Like you're using the actual update interface here,
Yeah.
which historically you have to be a little bit careful about it because
Yes.
sometimes you don't
Yeah.
want to update because it'll mess things up. So it's
Especially
like
when you're
now
about
you're
to
using
stream.
the actual update thing.
Oh
You've
my
got this
God.
joke at the top of it, but then there also seems to be some legitimate update stuff. And I'm like, guys, this is not the way.
Yeah, like it's like I get the there was like I will regularly come home and say to Heather, it's like, it'd be really funny as if we did this, and she's like, also yes, but incredibly tragic. If you did that, people would not enjoy that at all. And I'm like, yes, I realize that it would be extremely funny for me, and not for anybody else, but it would be very funny for me. It's like, that's why you can't do it. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm aware. And those impulses are like very strong. And when you have an excellent partner who can say, but you realize why you can't do that, it's like, yeah, I realize why I can't do that. And that's
Yes.
I feel like Elgato pushing an update that's like, oh, by the way, we're including this. Very funny for about 5 seconds when you realize what the joke is. But if you don't know what the joke is, you're just opening your Elgato interface and it immediately pops in. You're like, I have to now parse what the fuck is going on and whether this is a funny. Maybe I don't even think it's a funny because it's just April Fool's Day. I'm not really realizing it is, but
And it's like putting it up on your company's website is one thing. Pushing it to everybody
Yes.
as a update
yeah.
is that is
That's, yeah, 'cause,
offside.
like, I really dislike the news regurgitators
Yeah.
because they will take the April Fool's Day jokes that people get posted and they will post them. They'll repost them as news in ways that are like
Right.
we watched that
The April Fool's part can get
the-
lost.
The Apothecary Diaries one.
Yes.
And I saw that regurgitated into a thing that was like, they're doing this thing. And I'm like,
No,
not,
they're
though.
not.
Why are you writing it this way?
And of course, I'm for the purposes of ChillPoint, it makes my job a lot harder because I'm always looking for like weird and interesting
right?
video
Yeah.
game news.
Yeah.
And then so they'll be like, oh, this thing is coming out. No, it's not.
For anybody who likes the Apothecary Diaries, by the way, last year's April Fool's
Yeah.
joke was very funny. This year's is also very funny because it only is funny when you know what the Apothecary Diaries is because you get to see how they realize it. It's basically just 2 advertisements for spin-off series, and I think they're very funny.
Which I would 100% watch.
Yeah, we
or
watched them
play,
anyway.
Or play the video game of,
Yeah.
or anything if they would just do them.
Now, secondarily, I feel like Elgato missed a step because obviously the slot machine thing is very funny and something you can make a good video about too. But I'm like, if they really want to, really want to prank their audience, they need to make a Steam Deck. I know they did that thing before where it's like it's 20 XLs side by side. It was like this massive thing, right? I'm like, they need to make a Stream Deck that's like a toddler's busy board.
Just has like a bunch of different.
A bunch of different buttons and knobs and levers and
Yeah,
things
yeah.
you can play with that all do stuff to what it is that you're doing, but and maybe you can make it look like a Stream Deck does, where it's all sleek black with whatever and all these kind of things. But ultimately, when you look at it, you realize it's like, oh, there's like a couple of knobs, but then for other reasons, there's these weird switches and there's all these other things that are supposed to do stuff that all have like beautiful. Have the beautiful like backlit custom art and stuff, but ultimately when you look at it, you realize, oh, this is a toddler busy station. This is like for streamers, right? And I think that would be super funny because you could make a great commercial based on that idea as well as a false commercial. And then I thought about it, I'm like, shit, SNL did that already with Fisher Price's My First Podcast.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, that was such a good, and I'm like, that was such a good thing. And I wish they would do that to be like, look at how cool we could make this look though. So anyway.
As a side note, this is real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny as hell, but
They announced that like a couple weeks back.
Yeah.
yeah.
And there's
God,
an even.
it's so busy looking.
I think that's probably why they put the slot machine one this year too, is because they're like, people are going to find this ridiculous. Let's do one that's even more ridiculous.
Yeah.
I like it though.
That's a whole lot of Stream Deck.
What do we have going on there anyway? Like you have a bunch of programmable buttons,
Got some
Yeah, so
knobs.
it's a
a
Stream
bunch
Deck.
of knobs.
It's a Stream Deck XL
Yeah.
with the Stream Deck Plus knobs.
And what's that middle part?
This is a touchscreen.
Okay.
So it's a touchscreen.
Like a touch bar in a MacBook Pro?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
All
you
right.
can, but with a bunch of different things you can have as different stuff.
Interesting.
So it's we've got one of the Stream Deck Pluses in Studio A.
Yeah.
So it's just taking that and like scaling it up. But
Yeah, if you watch
it's so you can input the visuals with sound things as well, and probably with the lights and whatever, because Elgato has that whole like built-in ecosystem thing.
Yeah, exactly.
We use our knobs to control the brightness of our lights if we need to. It's kind of great. But
Yeah.
And then we tell people not to touch them because the green screening won't work.
Yeah. So you don't get to play with the knobs that much, but yeah.
Anyway. So yeah, there's a couple of stories that just came up that I saw this morning or last night, and I thought we could also talk about. Starting with, and as far as I know, none of these stories are April Fools.
These are supposed to be real
These
things.
should be real things.
Okay.
Donkey Kong Country SNES cart shows up on Antiques Roadshow.
I have one of these.
No, you don't.
No, I don't. But I do have
this
DKC on
this is
cart.
a special
but, yeah.
one.
Mm-hmm.
So the reason why this is actually this showed up on Antiques Road. So a Donkey Kong Country cart shows up on Antiques Roadshow, and I believe it ended up being $2,000 to $4,000 in auction.
And why is that?
So the reason is that apparently this is a tournament cart, and so it's actually a modified cart. It basically only plays for 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So you basically it loads in and presumably loads you into like a specific level.
Right.
And it only plays for like 5 minutes and then stops.
Right.
If I had
so it's like Donkey Kong Country but worse.
Yeah, NES Championships, Donkey Kong Country.
if I can take a Donkey Kong Country cart, put it in a Super Nintendo, and make sure you only play it for 5 minutes.
That's true. That's easy.
Yeah, it's not hard.
Reminds
You're
me
not special.
Reminds me a little bit of that thing with like the demo of Zelda.
Oh yeah, can you beat it before the demo expires?
That's on
Super Smash Brothers.
Smash Brothers, where people
Brawl.
figured out where they can actually beat it in the 20 minutes or whatever you have in the demo.
Yeah, like the whole game's here. You can actually beat it, and it's like, yeah, that's really cool.
Why did they put the whole game in there?
It's probably easier.
Yep.
Apparently, it is from Hollywood Video.
Oh, interesting.
Which they say is so. There's some interesting developments here because apparently it had like a sticker on it from Hollywood Video.
Right.
But apparently it was a competition cart made for the 1995 Blockbuster Championship. And the guy was like, at the time, Hollywood Video and Blockbuster were like the two major competitors.
Sure. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So what happened there? And then saying they were sold via Nintendo Power after the event wrapped up. So who knows how many different hands it went through and different things.
I don't remember that at all.
Apparently there's about 2,500 competition carts in existence.
How much did you care about Donkey Kong Country when you were a kid?
You've seen the shirt.
Yeah, but like
I still have that shirt.
I only watched the terrible 3D animated show.
So yeah, no, I was into it, but also at the time.
Also, for all I know, your mom got you that shirt.
She did because they got me Donkey Kong Country for Christmas, and it came with the shirt. So yeah, and it was too big for me now. It's still too big for me then. It's still too big for me now. They only made it in one size, Donkey Kong sized, but they
should have given out ties.
They should make those shirts again. But that was also the era in which I was still getting Nintendo Power. I think I was getting Nintendo Power pretty much through most of high school even. So it was like I had that. I do not remember seeing a Nintendo Power where they were selling it. So I wonder if I missed that or if the Canadian ones didn't have that.
Well, I mean, that's why
I don't know.
I asked because, like, sure, I got Nintendo Power too.
Yeah.
And there were parts of it I just ignored because
I read it cover to cover.
Why did I care about a game that I wasn't going to have any interest in?
I always read them cover to cover because it's like I didn't know if I was going to come across something that was going to end up being cool. So yeah, you just end up reading everything. And I mean, it was my magazine. I'm allowed to read the whole thing. So
speaking of Nintendo Power,
yeah.
Super Mario Brothers cartoon, as in
remember
the
that.
Super Mario Brothers Super Show cartoon,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
has popped up again on streaming networks. I believe
Alright.
it's on Tubi or one of the other ones.
Ploob. You can find it on Ploob.
Ploob.
Poob?
Or
Ploob?
Flugger on
Flugger.
Me TV.
Oh.
Anyway,
BT.
so it's important before I go into this to
Not get excited.
to emphasize to you how crappy the Super Mario Brothers Super Show animation was originally.
Yes.
Like it was
Yeah.
a very, very low budget
Yep.
thing.
Yes.
And very had a very kind of loose association with the like model of how the characters were supposed to look.
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, because it was based on the first video game. A bit of Super Mario 2 snuck in there as well. No Mario 3 snuck into that. They ended up making their own Mario 3 cartoon at some point, and then which was frustrating to me because like I wanted to watch the Mario 3 stuff show up, which never did.
But anyway,
Holly was interested in the Zelda stuff.
Yeah.
even given that crappiness, people are frustrated because this version that has shown up on streaming has clearly had some heavy-duty AI upscaling, and possibly even like generative futzing with.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you can see it, but you can see the way the
On the left is the upscale. On the right is I'm not sure. Is this actually the original?
no these are both been sort of weirdly upscaled.
Okay.
Now, like the left looks really bad.
Yes.
It's not actually like the original was also really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it isn't like it took away Toad's face. That's just
It
what
made
he
him a
looked,
Lego character.
That's what he looked like,
Yeah.
and like his hat was always like a weird egg shape.
It's a mushroom cap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He takes it off at one point in that show. That's why everyone is
Yeah,
like,
that's freaks.
it's a hat or not, or that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
The one that I particularly like is hey everybody, it's the supple Mario Brothers Super
Yep.
Show.
Yep. Great job, guys. Well done.
The supple. It's the Supple Brothers
Yeah.
Super Show.
Jesus. That's
Anyway, get Peach's face in here.
yeah, everything's just like it's
Got that super smooth.
for something that is not entirely on model all the time, and then you go even further with it because they're not probably working off of the original like film stock, right? They're working off
Not
of somebody's
likely.
capture.
They're probably working off like VHS tapes. or
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna already have smearing because of the capture. So
It's like just let it look like it looks.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, on the other hand, then you look at Reboot. And
Oh,
I
the
don't know,
reboot restoration stuff looks amazing.
have you been watching any of the Reboot restoration stuff?
No.
So Mainframe Entertainment had worked with. They had captured everything and stored it on digital tapes, but they're a specific type of digital tape known as D1, and that was a reasonably popular thing to use in the industry for a very short period of time. And
So finding things to read that tape is difficult.
yeah, it's kind of like when we were trying to find machines that had sufficient head life left on the DV so we could read a bunch of old DV tapes here. Now think about buying a multi-$1,000 machine that you don't know when you get it whether the heads will be in good enough shape to use or not. And there've been some fantastic videos about the doing a restoration process and the amount of work they're going into because they have so many tapes that they got from Mainframe and from other places that they've been like, we're trying to basically recapture multiple episodes and sometimes multiple copies of an episode so we can get very clean frames, and then we have to stitch them all back together.
And that's like it's great when the people are doing it who actually care about it.
Yes.
Whereas clearly with something like this, it's not only did they not care, they didn't even like look at it.
No, feel like that doesn't seem right.
Yeah, Supple Mario Brothers, that was the show,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So anyway, Or I was thinking what they should do, in sometimes when they remaster video games, like I played like Monkey Island.
Yeah.
You in the remaster, there's a button you can like switch between the original and the redone. Like do it so that like you can flip between the two versions, have it like as an alternate angle or something.
Yeah.
So it's like I want to see the smooth version. I want to see the original.
Yeah, the 360p version.
Yeah. You should just have that as an option. There is. Oh yeah,
Sorry, I'm going to address this. Aaron says, "I wish they would remaster Beast Wars." Just be patient.
Beast Wars or Beasties?
Same thing.
I know.
But which version?
They want Beast Wars because they live in the U.S. We want Beasties because we live in Canada.
There's in fact, this is actually one of many, but the Pokemon company is opening up a bunch of Pokopia-themed gardens.
Hey, okay.
That's nice.
Like that.
Around where, in this case, this is stories about in London, and there's little it's combines elements of different things inspired by the game, terrariums, living walls, little planters, and then they have little things for the little drawings and things of the Pokemon, and then it also has connections to like Pokemon Go, so they have like Pokestops. There's like a Pokestop,
Yeah, that
and
makes
gyms
sense.
and stuff there. And it seems like a very nice thing. I'm hoping that it's just like a place that you can go. I don't think it's like admission. Yeah, it's free to visit.
Nice.
So it's just like, I don't know. It's like if you're gonna have it's like, whatever. It's a video game tie-in, but it's like as video game tie-ins go, just like a nice garden.
Yeah. No, I'm into this.
Make sure you see if you can find any Pikmin while you're there.
When we were
Solid.
in,
yeah. Oh man, they should just have like little Pikmin like sticking out of the dirt.
Like you can get some like Pikmin planting related stuff in Japan and whatnot.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, it's just cute. They're plants.
Yeah, so you just
Right, they're supposed to be plants,
the
yeah.
little things you stick in the dirt to kind of like mark a plant for yourself. The when we were in Ikebukuro, going in, we were like, oh, we'll go visit the Pokemon Center that's in Ikebukuro, and it's in a mall called Sunshine City, and so we go to the floor that it's on, and in the center like is basically there's the Pokemon Center that's there, and then they have across the concourse essentially from it is another Pokemon Center is what it feels like, but it's actually, this is just the Pokemon arena. It's just where you go to sit down and play Pokemon with people, and of a reasonable size. Like it had about like 15,
it was kind of
20
more of an
tables.
emptier space because it was meant for just gathering.
So when you have like an event where you want to have people like a tournament or whatever, you can do it in this space. And then beside that was like something else that was also Pokemon related, and beside that was the Pokemon Cafe. Like you could go get drinks and whatever there, and then kind of in the middle of all of these different stores, there was a space where it was just like. They had statues of a bunch of different Pokemon, including like a Rowlet on a gravestone, which is
Well, no. It wasn't a Rowlet on a gravestone.
I know.
It was they had a normal Rowlet that was all in color, and then another one that was stone and gray, and it just kind of like
it felt like
did this one die?
Yeah, is this the monument to the first
Because
Rowlet?
why is it looking like this?
Yeah, why is it a monument? So
as opposed to the other ones, which looked more like Pokemon that were alive.
yeah,
I see.
But it was nice to be like you're in this area where it's like it's the middle of a mall, but there's all just Pokemon stuff everywhere, kind of around you, which was neat. But I like this garden idea even more of like there's actually just a place you can go and sit among the greenery and look at all the Pokemon stuff that there's, because I saw a short video about a Poke Park that they opened in Japan that really did not feel park-ish. It really felt like this is more an amusement park than it is. It's meant to be anyway.
Like,
Right.
They had stuff like this. I'm not going to show you, chat.
Yeah.
They had stuff like this, where it was like this, and then all of a sudden that.
Oh wow, yeah, that pretty
It's
much
just really weird.
that does look like a memorial to Rowlet.
Yeah.
But it was
so sad.
It was
what happened to Rowlet.
I kind of felt like the Poke Park stuff that I was seeing advertised was like, we're showing it off like early days to come in and see whatever. I'm like, this doesn't feel amazing to me. Looking at the Pokopia Garden, I'm like, that feels great. That feels like how you want this. A bunch of animals that live in the grass and the trees and the whatever else. You want to feel like, oh, I'm in a space where they are part of that environment.
That Pokemon Park thing or something that's been opened in Japan recently.
Yeah.
Where you go around and there's like Pokemon kind of everywhere. And
right. And then
there's like a Pokemon center you can go into and whatever.
Yeah.
And that's more like, this is sort of just like a little like,
yeah, it's
garden.
just like a little community garden almost, but that's like a big park that you
that thing is almost like
around.
a sort of a wilderness hike or a wilderness walk where there's like Pokemon hiding in the bushes and stuff.
Yeah.
Which seemed also very cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Finally, story about Peak. The
oh yeah.
We've been talking about Peak a lot, haven't we?
Okay,
now,
but they do cool stuff.
Yeah, now
they did a fun April Fool's
Yeah,
game
I was going to say, this is not the story. This is not about their April Fool's thing, but they did do a fun April Fool's thing.
Yeah.
Where they replaced the, they replaced the like help button with a kick.
So you would kick people instead of helping them. You can help, you can put out your hand to help people climb up if they're having a problem, and this one you kick them.
To kick them over the side of the mountain? Yeah. Great.
They're like, we decided because this is what people basically use it for anyway, so we might as well.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, they did an update recently.
This is sort of about Peak, but it's more that Peak instigated some, shall we say, discourse.
Ooh.
Oh.
I love
and
it.
I think it's an interesting thing to talk about. Is that somebody sort of tweeted at them or posted at them that that they were suggesting that the devs were lazy and could be doing a lot more with Peak, being like, how we need more, we want more updates.
Oh,
blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
We want more content.
Which is kind of hilarious because Peak was one of their games where they were like, we were working on this other game and it was destroying us, so we made 2 smaller games, and Peak was one of them.
And yeah.
So I think to come at them and be like, you're not doing enough is really rude.
Yeah.
And that tweet has since been like removed.
Oh, I'm sure.
Has been deleted. But the response from Landfall is still there, which is like, they're like, Peak has had so many updates though. And neither us nor AgroCrab are live service studios. Any update is a bonus, not a right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so this is an interesting point, right, about this, because we talk a lot about live service games, and usually not complimentary.
Yeah.
Because live service games have become sort of a
treadmill of pain.
Yeah, well, they become something that the industry is really pushing for, or seems to be really pushing for, and this idea that's like, hey, maybe games don't all need to be live service games.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, there is this idea that it is pretty common these days for games to get frequent updates after they're released.
Right.
Right. So, what's the distinction between when does a game become just frequent updates to this is actually basically a live service game?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of an interesting idea, and obviously AgroCrab and Landfall are like, in fact, I believe they put a
press release out.
No, they put a ending for Peak, in the sense they're like, I think after 2026.
Oh.
It's not going to be updated
The
anymore.
end of our maintenance cycle is this day.
Yeah, like they're gonna. There's like one. I believe they've already released 2 DLC things for it.
Yeah.
And they're saying there's going to be one more, and then like that's it.
Right.
Yeah, so they're finishing up stuff that they want to do with it.
Yeah.
The new update's pretty cool looking, honestly. The stuff where they've made it so you can change difficulties settings for the different people in your group, and like
a lot of customization stuff.
Do a bunch of customization for your runs. Or my favorite is you can just do the one biome, so you don't have to do like a full thing, which I think is great if you're trying to practice out some stuff. I think you can hang out at the campfires now, and nothing bad will happen until you're ready to move on.
Right. So yeah, cool.
Like there's some really good stuff in there.
And so, and yeah, and you know, as somebody who obviously I care about the video game industry, and I also care about sort of single player type games that aren't live service necessarily.
Yeah.
I am, you know, I fully endorse the idea that you can just, you know, finish a game and it's there.
Yeah.
But by the same token, obviously, there is this idea of that often these days games are maybe not released in the most complete form, which is a shame.
Yeah.
But you know, it happens, and you know, and even Nintendo.
I don't want to go back to that.
Pushes all sorts of updates into their games.
Yeah.
And so it's like the idea that like games, you know, can't be changed once they're sort of done is basically sort of you know, it's everyone expects there to be lots of updates to the game.
I don't want to go back to a time where your game had to be 100% finished and as bug free as possible on a cartridge, and that's all there is to it. It's like that was it. I don't want to go back to that time. I want what I want is when a 1.0 comes out, like when you hit Golden Master, that game is reliable. That it's like when it gets printed onto a cartridge, you're like, you can play that game from one end to the other, and you can have the game's experience, and that's what there is. We've taken care of any major showstopper bugs in that kind of situation, right?
And of course, part of the fun part of the reason why like the speedrunning, for instance, community tends to gravitate towards older games is because they can't be fixed.
Exactly.
Right. There's all sorts of weird bugs in various games.
Yeah.
That if they were sort of in continuous development, they would be like, oh, I see what the problem is there. Yeah. Let's fix it. And it's like, no, the fun part is finding the bug and messing with it.
I would say I'm an update junkie. Like having Linux systems in my house or whatever, you can basically just every day go, you know, apt-get update, and you can see like another 10 packages that are brand new. It's like, I'm going to download these and put them on the computer. Why? Because that's part of doing the process, is seeing what the new things that come out, fixes, maybe new bugs.
The new version is always better.
Exactly, right? And just like getting involved in that thing of like, I just want to have new stuff every day, and got very, very into that. And I mean, right now I'm not updating my phone or my TV or my Mac or any of that other kind of stuff. We're not that interested in Mac OS 26. But the idea of like, I want video games to get updates, and I want them to be available for people to be able to, you know, have that and use that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think I want when a game comes out that it's complete in the sense that this is a complete experience. I can play it. There's an ending if it's supposed to have one. The base game is essentially there and ready.
Yeah.
Right.
DLC, expansion packs, bug fixes, those things, if they want to keep doing that, that's great. They don't have to.
And I think a lot of people...
I don't expect them to. I do find it fun. I'm very excited when, you know, Power Wash Sim 2 is getting Adventure Time DLC this month, right?
Yeah. And I do think it's heavily disappointing to see...
Also, they added a miniature village recently, Paul. That's really cute.
Is that a free update? Or
yeah, that one's a free update.
I think it's heavily disappointing to see people who are like, well, where's my next update? Like, you made me buy this game. It cost me, God damn it, I spent $5 because it was 75% off. Where's my next 3 updates? Like that kind of situation.
Right.
I think that's incredibly disappointing, because the idea of because people aren't creating these things in a vacuum. God, I just read a great article. Somebody written this essay about they were referencing the California condor in it, but it's this idea of like, when you're creating stuff in a gift economy, where if you're like, we do this in a way, right? We make a sketch and we put it out, and we just say, if you like the sketch, put money in the bin. If you don't like the sketch, don't watch it. But you also don't have to put money in the bin if you don't want to, right? We just want you to feel like we have I want to support seeing more of that kind of stuff coming along. And in smaller knit communities, the more that people release like fan art to each other, right? Or like writing fanfic, or like doing anything that's like, I belong to a community where we're sharing things with each other and passing them back and forth. A lot of times you're doing that to build reputation, and you're doing that to build like interest in each other, and you're trying to build a thing within the community so you feel like you belong to that community, obviously. But when you're doing something with a profit motive, which obviously we are doing something for a profit motive, money has to become part of the calculus on that. And so how does that factor into how people can get paid to make and develop things? And when it comes to things like social media, which are just essentially like a massive flattener of all of that, it gets super hard for people to make an impact in that space because the community is so big, it's so wide. You're just in a gigantic room and nobody can actually hear or see anything that you're doing. And that just kind of like draws me back to, with this, these guys are saying, look, it's not a live service game. We've made a thing. You're not entitled to our updates. But every time we make an update, shouldn't that feel like a delight that a new thing has come out and that you got it for free and that you get to enjoy, that there's a new aspect of this thing that you get to like, oh, I get to do this and it changes the game somehow, or it adds new things. And that's the thing that I find heavily disappointing, is that it's like for something that's even driven from a profit motive, when you release stuff for free on top of that, people still come at it with a sense of entitlement that's like, well, I was supposed to have that. And it's like, no, you're not. Like,
but if that's what you're used to, that's kind of, those are the habits you fall into.
And that's the downside of when in large gift communities where it's like everything's always free, and it's like, right, it's not supposed to be that way because people do need to have a way to make money off of stuff too. No Man's Sky has just ruined it for everyone. Sean Murray.
But yeah, I mean, one game actually I just wanted to quickly mention, maybe a slight counterpoint. When we did on Loading Bay Live, we did that Steam. What's your?
Oh, the Steam library.
Yeah, Steam library. One of the games that was on mine is a game called Block Factory.
Right.
And it's a pretty simple. It's basically like a automation block. It's a little bit like a game called Shapes with a Z. Shapes. Okay. If you've played that, it's like a sort of a simple automation factory building thing where you have blocks, you extract blocks of certain colors, and then you can it's sort of like Lego. So you're sort of extracting you extract a 2x4 block, and then you can cut it in half and then stack the two parts on top, and you're ultimately trying to make you have the goal of making make a little figure of this shape, or make a thing of this shape.
And it's programmatic, I'm guessing.
Sort of programmatic. You're sort of, you're building little, you've got, it's like, oh, this thing will combine two things together. This thing will split them apart. It's just kind of a fun little, you build and, conveyor belts between things and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a fun sort of factory building thing. And it kind of, it tickles my brain in a way that I enjoy.
Yeah.
But it's a very small. It's a game made by a very small team. Mm-hmm. I think they've said that there's 5 of them, and they made a few other games, and they made this game, and it came out last year, and they put out a couple of updates for it, and then they sort of stopped. They moved on to other stuff, and they're like, the levels that are in the game we're happy with. Mm-hmm. That the frustrating thing is, at least for me, is that there are still some kind of egregious bugs in the game. Yeah. Certain the conveyor belts sometimes don't work properly, or things don't go the speed that they say they're supposed to be going, and that are kind of a big deal. Mm-hmm. And so they it's okay to just finish a game and move on is cool, but then in this case I'm but I kind of wish that they would do at least one more
maintenance pass,
a couple more updates on it to deal with some of these issues that are kind of egregious.
Yeah.
I'm not talking new content, just make it work properly.
Yeah.
But that they for all outward appearances, they seem to have moved on.
Yeah.
And so, people in Steam reviews and stuff, people will say, "Oh, they abandoned the game." And it's not like they abandoned it.
Yeah.
They were done with it.
They finished it and moved on to something else. But maybe if they had been a bigger team, they would have, been able to leave 1 or 2 people back to fix up some stuff still.
If I pick up a book that's a full story. And it's got some misprints in it. It would be nice if they fixed those, but I wouldn't be I can't believe this author abandoned this novel.
Right.
That'd be weird.
Yeah.
But so anyway, it's unfortunate so I kind of fell off playing the game because I kind of got to a point where I was like, the bugs are kind of making this not fun anymore.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. But so there's the sort of two aspects. Somebody mentioned Deep Rock Galactic, which is sort of, I mean, that's sort of a live service game in the sense, not that they charge a subscription fee,
yeah,
but they have sort of committed to a sort of a seasonal model in the sense of doing stuff. And
you buy the DLCs, I'm guessing.
No, you don't buy DLCs.
Jesus.
They do have. I mean, they do have. They release like seasonal cosmetic packs that you can buy.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that they make some money off that.
Right.
Considering I mostly play it by myself and it's a first-person game, I don't really care about the cosmetic packs.
Yeah.
But so I don't really buy those. But I'm assuming they're getting. I mean, I do often wonder about. Was it Spiritfarer was one that was an absolutely wonderful game.
Mm-hmm.
And then like a year after it came out, they added like 2 more really wonderful things. And then like 6 months later, they added another really wonderful thing. And you're like, this is really neat and great. And it's got like full voice acting and all this stuff. But like from a financial standpoint, I already bought the game.
Yeah, I mean,
you guys don't need to convince me.
No, it's true.
The biggest thing for that would be Stardew Valley.
Right.
Yeah. Like these giant updates that keep coming out that have never been paid for.
Yeah. But anyway, I guess when you do that, there's probably some calculus that like when you do that, it gets put up back into like the Steam rankings or whatever. And more people will buy it.
I mean, like Animal Crossing 3.0 was the biggest surprise to me.
Well, yeah, because they were pretty much done with.
It's like this game has to be over by now. Like you made a splash in 2021 or 2020 or whenever it came out.
2020.
2020. You make a splash in 2020 at the right time for everyone to want to play this game. The hype gets massive. You release another update for it. Everyone's really enjoying it. And then as we all start to crawl out of our holes, the hype dies down and a lot of people are not playing it anymore. And so to be like, oh, we're releasing a new system and also we're releasing 3.0 for this thing. It's like, why was this? What was the motivation? And you're doing that for free? What? And yeah, those kind of things startle me too, where it's like a game that has essentially felt like you're done.
Part of it was paid, depending on what part of that DLC you got.
I guess that's true. But
like it wasn't all free.
Yeah.
A lot of it was. I
love people like releasing the free updates and stuff, but at the same time, I almost kind of feel like, Concerned Ape, if you're going to keep releasing updates for Stardew Valley, I hope you have like a Patreon or a PayPal or something where people can be like, dude, I'll drop $10 on your Patreon this month. You know,
I would rather they work on the game that they're supposed to be working on.
Haunted Chocolatier?
Yeah.
Eventually, maybe.
I mean, I love Stardew Valley.
More chocolating.
It doesn't really matter what updates you do to it. When I go back to it, it's just to play for a little bit and to kind of like I'm kind of done with that game personally.
That is another aspect of that, and maybe this is a an age thing or like the kinds of games that you grew up playing or something. But I have that same thing where it's like I play a game and then I'm like finish the game.
Generally done with the game. I have other things to do.
And then they'll be like, we're releasing a new thing for this game. And I'm like, oh, do I like go back and like play through the whole game again and then play this content? Do I just play this 1 hour long piece of content? Like, I feel like, I sort of got what I wanted out of the game. Yeah. I don't have that much impetus to get back into it. Even though the experience that I had with it was very good.
Yeah.
It's an interesting
Now if
balance.
they wanted to add more to the original Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition instead of making new Hyrule Warriors games, I'd probably go back in there and check out that stuff because I still go into that game. But
but anyway, that's all that I wanted to talk about this week. But thank you for joining us. As a note, next week we will be on Sunday
right, yeah.
rather than Friday because of the Secrets of Strixhaven.
Yeah, there's a
PPR,
PPR, which means if you watch this on YouTube, it'll show up a little later than normal as well, just because that's what happens when things get shifted.
Yeah. So just so you know, but in the meantime, thank you everybody for joining us. Thank you for supporting us in all the ways that you do, so we can keep doing all the things that we do.
We have to 3,000 people on our Patreon this month.
Nice. Is that a new top?
I'm going to assume it is.
Let's say yes.
It feels like it is.
Excellent.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
Thank
people
you.
supporting us. Thank you very much. And yeah, by the way, actually, we put out a new Patreon explanation video. Not that it actually like says anything any of you probably don't know.
There was an update video for March. It was the 31st, but it was still March.
Still counts.
So if you want to go to the main YouTube channel, youtube.com/loadingreadyrun, we made all of our channels a collab on that video. So supposedly, if you're only subscribed to the video games channel, it should have still shown up in your feed.
Nice.
We collaborate with ourselves.
Yeah. It's interesting. I got to see like how that whole system worked from
Both sides,
both sides.
Nice. But yeah, thanks for joining us. If you support us on YouTube, you can become a member of our YouTube channel and get into the credits at the end of ChillPoint. But whatever ways that you are helping us out, thank you very much. Or even if you just follow the channel, tell your friends about us, whatever. Always appreciated. Thanks for joining us, and we will talk to all y'all later. Bye.